Inwarata no Sahai is still my amiable name, and I'm so delighted to come your way this morning. The very first day of the month of April 2026 and the first Wednesday of the month of April 2026. And we are still on the trajectory of discussing driving workplace productivity with emotional intelligence, driving team effectiveness with emotional intelligence. No matter the field you are in, no matter the field you play your game, it is very important that we are all emotionally intelligent. And emotional intelligence is the smartness, the intelligence of knowing how to effectively manage your emotions and also manage the emotions of other people. And as I've been reiterating on this platform, that when you situate emotional intelligence in the workplace, emotional intelligence for a boss or an employer, for a leader in the work environment, is his ability to ensure workplace emotional stability with the knowledge of how to manage his own emotions and also the knowledge of how to manage the emotions of his team members. And this is very important in driving workplace productivity. And as it regards the pillars of emotional intelligence, the components which are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social awareness, at the moment we are on empathy. And empathy is your ability to be able to sense the needs of others. Empathy is the ability to see things from others' perspectives. This is very important. Now, when you situate empathy in the area of governance, especially as it relates to a governor, empathy will help a state governor to be able to see his citizens beyond statistics, see them beyond voting blocks. He will be able to see them as human beings facing real life pressures, facing real life fears, and also having aspirations. This is very important because in leadership, empathy is the core of leadership. Empathy is the heart of leadership. You know, when a state governor has empathy, that state governor will be able to listen to his people, engage actively with them, and from the insight gleaned from that listening to his people and engaging actively with them, he'll be able to make policies and interventions that will actually resolve or attend to the reality or the problem that people are facing. This is very important. Empathy is the ability to sense the needs of others. When the state governor has empathy, this state governor will not relate with the people based on status, on social status. He will not relate with them based on ranks. The same respectful dignity and treatment he has for his commissioner, who is a member of his cabinet, will be the same respect and value he will have for that displaced farmer. It will be the same respect and value he will have for that civil servant. This is very, very important. And you know, the templates that we have been using on this discussion on emotional intelligence is that of using case scenario, you know, using case study to discuss and drive this point home so that from a practical angle, we can actually be able to grasp this knowledge of emotional intelligence, grasp this knowledge, you know, of empathy. And at the moment, like I said, we are discussing empathy. And the case scenario here is actually the case scenario of a state governor demonstrating empathy during a flood crisis. That is a case scenario we are going to be discussing together this morning. A state governor demonstrating empathy during a flood crisis. And I just go ahead to read it and let's just learn together and have a premium conversation together. During the peak of the rainy season, a state experienced severe flooding that affected 3 local governments. Homes were submerged, livelihoods disrupted, and many families were displaced. The situation quickly escalated into a humanitarian crisis with rising anxiety among residents. The governor responded promptly, working closely with the Commissioner for Environment and the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management to coordinate relief efforts. Now, this is where empathy comes into the narrative. Rather than managing the crisis solely from the state capital, the governor visited the affected communities in person. That is empathy. Very important. He walked through the floods. He walked through the flooded areas, interacted directly with displaced residents, and listened attentively to their concerns fears, and immediate needs. Remember, when I was defining empathy, I said it's the ability to sense the needs of others. And I said that if a state governor has empathy, the state governor will listen to the people, he will engage actively with them, and with the insight gleaned from that listening and engagement, he will be able to formulate policies, make decisions that will address their needs. And that is what this state governor, in this case scenario, during a flood crisis in that particular state, actually did. He acknowledged their pain and reassured them that the government stood with them during the difficult period. Demonstrating the emotional intelligence component of empathy, the governor ensured that relief measures reflected the real needs of the people. That is very important, because when a leader listens, when a leader engages with his people, he will be able to make decisions, come up with outcomes that will be able to address the real need of the people. Temporary shelters were set up with attention to dignity and privacy for families. Food distribution was organized in a way that minimized chaos and preserved order. Medical teams were deployed not only to treat physical illnesses, but also to provide psychological support to those experiencing trauma. That is a leader indeed that is attending to the need of the people. He also directed that special consideration be given to vulnerable groups such as children, the elderly, and pregnant women. Now, this is what empathy does. Empathy makes a leader, in this case scenario, a state governor, to be able to make inclusive decisions that will carry everybody along, especially the vulnerable in the society. This is very important. So, furthermore, the governor maintained transparent and consistent communication with the public, providing updates and managing expectations while showing genuine concern for those affected. His actions reassured citizens that they were not alone and that their government truly understood their situation. Through these empathy-driven actions, the suffering of the people was significantly alleviated, and trust in leadership was strengthened during a critical time. This is very important. So from this case scenario, we are going to see 3 leadership lessons for other state governors across the country. This governor in this case scenario displayed a lot of empathy. He put his foot on the ground, went straight to those communities where the flood happened, and he was able to actually engage with the people, interact with them, gleaned insights that was able to enable him make decisions to actually address the challenges they were facing. Now, these are 3 leadership lessons on the emotional intelligence component of empathy for other governors. Number 1, empathy is an information tool. Empathy is an information tool. By sensing the needs and concerns of the people directly with his physical presence, the governor gained ground truth data that his commissioners might have missed. Now, when somebody go to an area of concern, an area of crisis, the person will be able to glean direct insight that will be different from when you send your aid and you send your assistants to go there and bring those information. The governor went right there, displayed empathy, and from that empathy, he was able to get direct information that that was able to help him to make decisions to alleviate the sufferings of the people. He was able to ameliorate their challenges by reason of engaging the emotional intelligence component of empathy, going straight there, boots on the ground, and then things were resolved. Empathy allows a leader to understand the perspective of the marginalized, leading to more accurate and effective policy interventions. The second lesson on the emotional intelligence component of empathy for governance from this case scenario. Number 2, shift from seeing people as statistical data to human beings with human needs. Shift from seeing people as statistical data to human beings with human needs. Very important. In a crisis, it is easy to see the affected population as statistics, as eternally displayed persons. Empathy requires a leader to see them as fathers, mothers, and children with aspirations. This is very important. This is very, very important. Empathy requires a leader to see them as fathers, mothers, and children with aspirations. Leadership is most effective when it addresses the person, not just the problem. 3, communicate with compassion and transparency. In times of crisis, how leaders communicate matters as much as what they do. Clear, honest, and compassionate communication builds trust and reassures the public. So when the state governor in this particular case scenario was communicating with the people, he avoided bureaucratic syntax and semantics, avoided administrative, lessons and structures. He went straight to them to identify with their name, communicated in that, frequency, and he was able to manage the situation. And this is what empathy is all about. The ability, to understand the needs of people, the ability, to sense the needs and the concerns of others, and be able to, glean information from you listening to them, engaging them, and be able to make things better for them. I strongly believe that profound value have been added to you today. I know you want to connect with me as you have been doing, to ask more questions, make more inquiries. And my phone number, my email is inuagata@gmail.com, INUAGHATA, inuagata@gmail.com. Just send your questions across, forward your inquiries, and then I'll be able to provide answers to you. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, I will still be the amiable. Inuagata no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.